Welcome to COMET-Farm tutorials. Today we'll be talking about the drag and drop crop rotation feature. The drag and drop crop rotation feature is a useful shortcut once you've already input your parcel location, your historical management, and are now entering your scenario management. While you of course always have the option to manually enter all of the crops that you have in rotation, this process can often be a little bit tedious and time-consuming. In order to use this tool, navigate to the left-hand side of your window where there's an orange button that says Drag and Drop Crop Rotation. Once that window opens, you'll have a selection of crops that you can choose for your selected field. As the name suggests, all you have to do is drag and drop the crops that you'd like to use in your field. So in this case, we're going to make a rotation of corn and soybean. So again, I'm just picking up that corn and dragging it over to the right-hand window. And same goes for soybean. What's nice here is that all you have to input is data on irrigation and tillage. For irrigation, it's just a yes/no of whether or not it was irrigated. And for tillage, it's a drop-down menu that you can select from. In this case, we're going to assume that these crops were both intensively tilled. From there, you just say create rotation. The tool will then begin populating your left-hand baseline with data. So you'll see here that from 2000 to 2021, we now have a rotation of corn and soybean. The tool will create default both planting and harvesting dates, but these are adjustable. So if you want to adjust them, just because you've chosen this tool does not mean that you can't. Same goes for tillage. So you can see that because you selected intensive tillage in the drag and drop pane, that is now the management listed. It also auto-populates with information such as fertilizer, and you can see the same goes for the soybean. Again, it gives you a harvest date, a planting date, as well as intensive tillage and fertilizer application as well. Again, all of this auto-populated information is editable, so just because you choose this option does not mean that you cannot customize your management. For example, even though I initially said I wanted this soybean to be intensively tilled, I do have the option to alter that. Let's take a quick look at another scenario to show a limitation of this tool. Let's say I currently have a rotation of corn, alfalfa, and soybean in my field, and I decide I want to add a cover crop. If I try to use the drag and drop feature here, so I go ahead and click on that orange button again, and this time all I do is drag clover over in order to serve as that, again, cover crop. What's going to happen when I say create rotation is it's going to completely override all of the data that I already input. So it's incredibly important to be careful here and make sure you only use the drag and drop feature if you are okay with it overriding any information you've already entered. Let's talk through one more scenario in which I use the drag and drop crop rotation in order to input an array of crops. So in this scenario, let's say I'm planting corn, alfalfa, clover, soybean, and winter wheat. When I create a rotation using those crops, the tool itself is going to auto-populate a rotation based on default calculations. And again, it's going to input data for you. While these are still editable, it may not be ideal for the rotation you're trying to create. In order to avoid that, what you can do is you can actually drag and drop your crops in the order in which you want them to appear, even if that means duplicating. So, for example, I can drag corn over twice, and then I can drag over a corn silage, and then lastly, if I wanted to include soybean in my rotation. Then when I create the rotation using those three, and once it's done populating that data, you'll see on the left-hand side that I have 2 years of corn, a year of corn silage, and then a year of soybean, which is exactly the rotation I wanted. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, you can always visit our Need Help widget in the lower right-hand side of the website, or you can email us at appnrel@colostate.edu. Thank you.